This is Commander Victor Cross, retired. For 2 years, I was a prisoner of the Zarathi Dominion. For 2 years, they tortured me for information. I gave them everything they wanted, and everything I gave them was a lie. This is Case File 093. This is the story of Operation Broken Mirror, and the 2 years I spent feeding our enemies the poison that killed their empire. I was captured on March 15, 2347. Routine patrol gone wrong. Zarathi ambush in a system we thought was secure. My ship was disabled, my crew killed. I was the only survivor. When they realized who I was, Commander, Strategic Operations Division, with direct knowledge of fleet deployments and defense protocols, they thought they had found a treasure. They were half right. I did have the knowledge they wanted. Fleet positions, defense codes, patrol routes, strategic vulnerabilities. Everything a senior officer would know after 15 years of service. What they did not know was that I had been prepared for this moment. Operation Broken Mirror was conceived 3 years before my capture. Human intelligence had identified a pattern. The Zarathi relied heavily on extracted intelligence to plan their operations. They captured enemy officers, broke them through torture, and used the information to devastating effect. They had done it to the Korvathi, to the Thessians, to a dozen other species who had lost wars because their secrets were extracted from screaming prisoners. Command realized it was only a matter of time before they captured a human officer with valuable knowledge. When that happened, we could lose everything. Or we could turn their own tactics against them. I was chosen for a reason. 15 years of service, extensive knowledge of actual operations, a psychological profile that suggested I could withstand prolonged torture while maintaining cognitive function. And one more thing. I am a very good liar. For 2 years before my capture, I was briefed on false information. Fleet positions that did not exist, defense codes that were slightly wrong, patrol routes that would never be used, an entire shadow version of human military operations, carefully constructed to look real. I memorized all of it. I lived it. I believed it, as much as I could, while knowing it was false. When the Zarathi captured me, I was carrying 2 sets of information. The truth, locked behind every mental defense I could construct, and the lies, ready to be extracted. My mission was simple. Let them break me. Let them think they had won, and feed them every piece of false intelligence that would lead them to their own destruction. The first 6 months were the hardest. The Zarathi are not creative torturers. They are efficient ones. They had studied human physiology. They knew our pain thresholds, our psychological weaknesses, our breaking points. They applied this knowledge systematically. I will not describe what they did in detail. Some things should not be spoken. But I will say this. They were very good at their work. By month 3, I had stopped sleeping more than 2 hours at a time. By month 4, I had lost 30 pounds and most of my ability to stand without assistance. By month 5, I was hallucinating from pain and exhaustion. And I had not given them anything. The interrogators were frustrated. Humans were supposed to break. Every other species broke eventually. Why was this one resisting? They increased the pressure. New methods, new chemicals, new ways of making a human body scream. By month 6, I gave them their first piece of information. A patrol route. Minor importance, but real. Verified by other intelligence sources they had. They were delighted. The dam was breaking. The human was finally cracking. Soon, they would have everything. I gave them another piece. then another, each one a little more important than the last, each one carefully designed to look like I was fighting against myself, trying to resist, but failing. They believed it. Why wouldn't they? They had seen this pattern 100 times before. The gradual collapse, the increasing desperation, the final surrender. They did not know that every word I spoke was selected from a menu of lies I had memorized years before. By month 8, they had moved me to a more comfortable cell. I was too valuable to risk losing to the torture. They gave me better food, medical attention, time to recover between sessions. They thought they were preserving their investment. They were giving me time to think, to plan, to refine my performance. The next 16 months were an elaborate game. I fed them information gradually. Too fast would seem suspicious. Too slow would frustrate them into killing me. I had to find the perfect pace, broken enough to be believable, resistant enough to seem human. Every session was a performance. I would resist at first, then show fear, then break down, weeping, begging them to stop, and finally, reluctantly, give them another piece of the puzzle. They recorded everything. They analyzed my body language, my stress responses, my micro-expressions. They were looking for signs of deception. They found none. Because I was not lying about my pain. I was not faking my fear. I was not pretending to be broken. I was broken. In many ways, I broke long before month 6. The torture was real. The agony was real. The desperation was real. The only thing I kept hidden was the content of my confessions. I gave them what they wanted. I just made sure that what they wanted was exactly what we wanted them to have. By month 18, the Zarathi had constructed an entire picture of human military operations, fleet positions throughout our territory, defense codes for our major installations, patrol schedules that would allow them to move undetected. They had enough information to plan a devastating invasion, which was exactly the point. Human intelligence had been monitoring Zarathi communications throughout my captivity. They knew what I was telling them. They knew when to plant confirming evidence for Zarathi spies to find. They knew how to adjust our actual operations to make the false information seem even more credible. We gave them a perfect picture of a military that did not exist, and they believed every word. By month 22, the Zarathi began planning Operation Stellar Dawn, the largest military operation in their history. 40,000 warships, positioned to strike at the heart of human territory, based on the intelligence I had provided. They would hit our fleets in their anchorages before they could respond. They would crack our defenses with the codes I had given them. They would sweep through our systems using the patrol gaps I had revealed. Perfect planning based on perfect intelligence. All of it lies. The invasion launched on June 7th, 2349. 40,000 Zarathi warships, jumping to coordinates I had provided over 2 years of torture. They found nothing. The fleet anchorages were empty. Our ships had been moved months ago. The defense codes did not work. They had been changed the moment I was captured. The patrol gaps did not exist. Our ships were exactly where the Zarathi did not expect them. And in 12 locations across human space, ambush fleets were waiting. We had known exactly where they would jump. We had known exactly when. We had known their fleet compositions, their command structure, their tactical doctrine. Because while they thought they were extracting intelligence from me, they were revealing themselves. Every question they asked told us what they wanted to know. Every verification test told us what information they had from other sources. They thought they were interrogating me. I was interrogating them. The Battle of Stellar Dawn lasted 6 hours. 40,000 Zarathi ships jumped into ambushes they never saw coming. Human fleets, positioned perfectly, opened fire on enemies who expected to find defenseless targets. The Zarathi tried to regroup. They tried to adapt. But their entire operation was based on intelligence that was completely, comprehensively false. Every tactical assumption was wrong. Every strategic calculation was corrupted. Every backup plan led them into another ambush. By hour 4, they were in full retreat. By hour 6, they were broken. Final tally: 32,000 Zarathi ships destroyed. 8,000 captured. Human losses: 4,000 ships. 8-to-1 exchange rate. The most devastating single engagement in galactic history. And it all started with one man letting himself be broken for 2 years. The Zarathi sued for peace within a month. Their military was shattered. Their intelligence services were compromised beyond recovery. Their entire strategy for defeating humanity had been turned into the weapon that destroyed them. I was rescued during the chaos of their collapse. Special operations team sent specifically to retrieve me before the Zarathi could realize what had happened. When they opened my cell door, I could barely stand. 2 years of torture had left permanent damage. I still walk with a limp. I still wake up screaming some nights. I still cannot sleep without medication. But when they told me what had happened, 32,000 ships destroyed, the Zarathi Empire collapsing, human space secured for a generation, I smiled. First time I had smiled in 2 years. Was it worth it? They asked me. I thought about the question. 24 months of agony, permanent physical damage, psychological scars that will never fully heal. 32,000 enemy ships, an empire destroyed, millions of human lives saved. Yes, it was worth it. I am sometimes asked how I did it, how I maintained the deception for 2 years while being subjected to everything the Zarathi could devise. The answer is simple, though not easy. I had a purpose. Every moment of pain, I reminded myself why I was there. Every session of torture, I focused on the lies I was telling, on the trap I was building, on the victory I was creating. The Zarathi thought they were breaking me. In a sense, they were right. They broke my body. They broke my mind in ways that have never fully healed. But they never broke my purpose. Because my purpose was not to resist. It was not to stay silent. It was not to be a hero who refuses to talk. My purpose was to talk. To fill their ears with carefully crafted poison. To be so thoroughly broken that they would never doubt the information I gave them. I was not a prisoner trying to resist interrogation. I was a weapon pretending to be a victim. The galaxy learned something important from Operation Broken Mirror. You cannot trust intelligence extracted from human prisoners. Not because humans don't break. We do. Everyone breaks eventually. But because even when we break, we might be lying. Even when we give you everything, it might be nothing. Even when you've won, you might be losing. The Zarathi spent 2 years extracting information from me. They verified it against every source they had. They built their entire strategy around it. And every word was false. Every single word. The next time a species captures a human and tries to extract intelligence, they will remember Stellar Dawn. They will remember 40,000 ships destroyed because they trusted what a tortured human told them. And they will wonder, is this prisoner really breaking? Or is this another broken mirror? That uncertainty is worth more than any secret I could have protected. Because now, every human prisoner is a potential weapon. Every piece of extracted intelligence is suspect. Every victory based on human confessions might be a trap. We turned their greatest strength into their greatest vulnerability. And all it cost was 2 years of my life. Worth it. This is Commander Victor Cross, signing off.